So another thing is, just outside of the daily practices, is more lifestyle practices. A big one for me is kindness. Once you start being kind, you notice that the universe is kind. You know what I mean? When we're walking around and and you're angry and you're mean, the universe is angry and mean to you. So this is another way to find inner peace. And kindness can be like this high. Like once you start being kind to people, you're just like, wow, and you get this amazing reaction. You're realizing that you're changing your reality. It actually really brings this like inner peace, but also like this inner like high. Like it's just amazing, like the way that you'll feel once you start doing that regularly. So for lifestyle practices, definitely be very, very conscious of your food. If you can, don't eat meat anymore if you can, or at least cut down as much as possible. Try to eat organic, clean food, GMO free. Be very careful of your water. City tap water does have fluoride in it. If you're unfamiliar with the effects of fluoride, you can do some research. It is a neurotoxin. It does calcify our pineal gland, our third eye. So I try not to drink city water. I try to eat very clean. You don't need to eat as much as you think you do. That's the other thing. Eat good food and get regular exercise, jog, go to the gym, yoga, whatever you can do. Another thing for me is be outdoors as much as possible. I'm outdoors right now. I'm very lucky. I live somewhere that has trees, and I can be outdoors regularly. There's a lot of people in the world that don't have that, and I heard somebody said this. I didn't back this up to verify it, but it makes sense that people who live in neighborhoods with trees are like some percent higher. I don't know the exact percent, but much happier than areas where they don't have trees, and that totally makes sense to me. And it's sad to think that people are put in situations where they don't have trees. They might never even see a tree. Or when they go into the forest and the woods, they're afraid of bugs or dirt or poison ivy. And now with the scare with ticks and stuff like that, and it's something to be mindful of. Of course, you want to protect yourself when you're outdoors, but just be outdoors as much as possible. Reflect on the beauty of nature. You can combine that with the gratitude thing. I'll just stare at a flower and just think of how amazing a flower is. Be outdoors and get off of social media. Haha, funny, I'm on YouTube right now saying get off of social media. But I was at Walden Pond the other day, 4 young people, 2 of them in the water with their phones, taking selfies, the other 2 on the beach staring at their phones. Doesn't make them bad people. It's just this is the kind of sad world that we live in at this point, where there could be an agenda where it's like when you're separated from the natural world and you're drawn into it's almost like that movie Inception, where it's like a simulation inside of a simulation. You get further and further away from the baseline reality, which is the baseline reality. It doesn't matter which level of the simulation you're in. The baseline reality is that we are actively co-creating and creating this reality. The further you get away from that, pulled into social media, the more you just become the avatar. We're so much more than the avatar. So disconnect from social media as much as possible. Try not to be one of those people that's always on your phone, even though I'm staring at a phone right now. You can have control over that. I find when I have like social media like Facebook and Instagram on my phone, that I'm always like trying to reach for it. So I frequently delete them and add them, and it's trying to break that. Like it is an addiction, this social media addiction thing. Another big one for the lifestyle practices is just don't watch or pay attention to mainstream media. If you want, just do an experiment where you don't pay attention to mainstream media for a week, and then see how different you feel. It's okay to check in once in a while. I like to check in because it gives you sort of a barometer for where like the mainstream consciousness is at. But you can see once you break away that mainstream media is all dualism. It's all duality. It's all us versus them. It's Trump versus the world. It's this versus that. Teams versus each other. It's all this stuff. It's all this negative, low vibration. They don't give you. It's promoting an agenda. It's promoting a baseline consciousness level. So less social media and no mainstream media. Maybe check in once in a while. Once your third eye starts to open up and you start to sort of deprogram from the matrix. Because what the matrix is the matrix is this programming, this external programming of your subconscious mind and to create the reality that we live in. So the matrix mind, or the programming and the mind control, all that is that means you don't have original thoughts. So if you want to get back to your original thoughts, your inner gnosis, your inner God nature, you have to unplug from the matrix, just like Neo did it. You have to unplug by stepping back from all of that social media, mainstream media, anything that they're pushing, even the mainstream agendas that you see pushed. Question some of these mainstream. They might seem like good intentions, but for one thing, like the whole this idea of like masculinity being a bad thing. There's some truth to it, because the way that they push, the way that the mainstream has made masculinity being this like men alpha male thing, where if you don't get what you want, you take it. That's not true masculinity. That's the mainstream version of masculinity. The true masculinity is divine masculinity. Being divine masculine, being a protector, being a strong, supportive, providing, and divine feminine being loving, caring, compassion, and empathy. We all have those, and we should all have a balance of those. Don't be unbalanced in your male and female, because one of the principles of the Kabbalion is the principle of gender. There's gender in all things. So gender is not a bad thing. We got to get away from this idea of we all have to be genderless and all this stuff. Yeah, it's an okay idea, but question everything, whether it's liberal or whether it's left or right. Depolarize, question everything, all of these agendas that you start to see, because we have to keep our humanity, and we don't want to move away from you don't want to become this like genderless, humanless, like transhuman society, where we're connected, where we're becoming one with the machine, like that kind of thing, because the machine is control. It's another form of matrix, right? We are of Earth, we are of Gaia, we are of Spirit. Let's focus on that and get back to that, okay? We can use technology as a means, but I even saw someone posted on Facebook recently, a local kid here who got a microchip implanted in his hand, and I'm like, oh God, like I can see where the sort of like the social media world has like turned that into be like transhumanism, adding technology. Oh, it's so much easier. I can open doors and get credit cards. You're putting technology in your body. Come on, we're human. We're children of Gaia. Let's connect to that and not move further and further away from that. So the point of all of this, the daily practices, gratitude, qigong, exercise, energy work, the lifestyle practices, kindness, healthy eating, living, healthy food, being outdoors, less social media, no mainstream media, is to develop your intuition. Inner peace, of course, that's the point, is to have inner peace. Once you have inner peace, you're able to create your reality through a place of peace and love, as opposed to having your chariot drug around by your emotions and just out of control. You don't know what you're doing. You just follow each trail where your emotions lead you. You have inner peace. You're able to just deal with everything from a place of inner peace and love. Be very conscious of how you react to every situation. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to develop your intuition and learn from your intuition, learn to follow your intuition. And you have like your original thought, your first thought is usually correct, you'll find, and then your brain starts kicking in like, oh, maybe I should do something else. But if you can develop that intuition, eventually you're going to see things before they happen. You'll start to see like, this isn't like being psychic, this is more like just like having a strong intuition, which is kind of like being psychic, but and then eventually you're going to start seeing why things are happening to you. You're going to realize that this is an energy game, and like if I react this way to this situation, there's a level that I'm going up, or there's a lesson in there for me to learn, instead of just feeling like why things are just happening to me, like I'm just this victim, I'm just this soulless matter. Those are all lies. That's not the truth. The truth of it is this is an energy game. We are energy. And we are what the powers that should not be fear the most, and that is why they're chemtrailing. I can watching chemtrails right now. and they're putting fluoride in the water and all these things, because once we develop our intuition and we find that inner peace through the inner work, we're going to take back and create this reality the way we want it to be, which is out of a place of love, kindness, compassion, and cooperation as opposed to competition. So that's all I'm going to say. Do the inner work for the inner peace. Have the daily practices. Number one, gratitude. You can do a Qigong practice, the Heaven and Earth Qigong practice, a daily practice of yoga exercise, running, walking, energy, if you want to go further, energy work like Reiki. And then the lifestyle practices of kindness, practice kindness every day. It's going to change your reality. There's a time for kindness and there's a time for harshness. Keep that in mind. Everything needs to be balanced. It's one of the 7 Hermetic principles. So actually the whole book of the Kabbalion is about balance. You'll see. Pick up that book as well. So lifestyle practices, kindness, health. I'm looking at my notes. Kindness, health, food, healthy food, exercise, being outdoors regularly, less social media, no social media, develop your inner intuition and your inner peace.